PLNs, the next approach. Take a moment and think about the professional development sessions that you have participated in as a teacher. How many of these sessions involved an expert or experts imparting knowledge to a captive audience? How many times were these PD sessions focused on a topic that didn't necessarily fit with your needs or the needs of your students? As technology becomes more ubiquitous, knowledge becomes available to all. Rather than being the audience, we now have a chance to shape our own learning in new and powerful ways. Educators have the opportunity to become the people who used to be known as the audience. Does this picture look familiar? A well-read and well-intentioned workshop leader presents a program, a set of ideas, or a new procedure to a room full of teachers. Workshops used to be the only way to get a group of individuals in a room together to share ideas and to learn. But the key question is, what happens with this newly acquired knowledge once the workshop ends? Do the teachers take it back to their classrooms and use it? Or does it stay in the room once the session is over? In their new book, Professional Capital, Michael Fullen and Andy Hargreaves point out that working with big ballroom audiences or conducting training workshops outside of school or using one-to-one coaching to enforce compliance with imposed programs has little deep or long-standing impact on teachers' daily practice. In order to make professional learning more nimble and responsive to need, a shift from traditional PD to a networked approach is fundamentally important. Learning networks, or PLNs, focus on sharing professional knowledge, ideas, and experience. The term PLN is used quite often in the world of education. In order to explore PLNs effectively, a working definition is required. PLNs are deliberately formed networks of people and resources capable of guiding our independent learning goals and professional development needs. Numerous studies have been conducted to explore professional motivation. Classical economic theory would tell us that human beings are motivated by money. Daniel H. Pink debunks money as a professional motivator. His research shows that true motivation flows from purpose, a sense of meaning in the workplace; mastery, the ability to perform one's job in a highly effective manner; and empowerment, allowing people a sense of autonomy over their learning and their work. The TCDSB Project NEXT vision of the PLN supports these pillars through a tiered vision of flexible, relevant, and self-directed learning. This vision of the PLN builds from individual learning right out to the partnering or grouping of schools. The first level is the personal learning network. It's user-directed and relevant to individual interest and site needs. The goal is to increase professional knowledge through online platforms and individual exploration. It becomes the foundational piece of professional learning. The second tier is the professional learning network. This is where users bring their newly sourced professional knowledge back to the community. Professional knowledge of the group is enhanced by the work of the individual members of the community. Networks are flexibly assembled and can be formed based on need. The third network is an aspirational one. The partnering learning network allows schools to become linked, and technology enables deeper learning at multiple sites. Schools can be paired or grouped based on need to support student and staff development. Ideas are banked and shared laterally rather than vertically. In order to develop a personal learning network, an individual must connect to new information through social media, colleagues, or even simply through web searches. Once a personal network starts to form, it is imperative that one contributes their own knowledge to the network to help it grow. When these first two pieces are in place, effective collaboration can occur. The goal is to empower your learning. It's important to think carefully about constructing a personal learning network. One of the best ways to get started is through Twitter. Twitter is no longer the domain of celebrities who wish to share their breakfast menu. It has become a rich platform for finding information and connecting with new people. Emma Brown of the Washington Post points out, "Teachers say the camaraderie and free instantaneous help they find through Twitter and its steady stream of pithy messages, maximum 140 characters each, is far more useful than traditional school training programs, which often feature fixed agendas, airless rooms, and canned speeches by hired experts. Google allows us to direct our learning through web searches or use of their free apps like Sites, Docs, Calendar, and Groups. We can also experience deeper analysis of issues through reading blogs or creating our own. Individual action is not enough to develop rich networks. No matter how well intentioned, an individual cannot create systemic change alone. This is true of individual ideas as well. All good ideas begin as fragments and need to be connected to other ideas to have their potential fully realized. So as tempting as that apple may be, sadly, one ant can't. Ideas and individuals must be linked together. An individual ant has no chance of moving that apple forward, but a collection of ants has a chance. Ideas grow in new and unpredictable ways when linked together. Quite simply, more is different. Prior to becoming the fathers of Impressionism, Monet and Renoir were longtime friends. They regularly discussed technique and ideas. Many of these discussions took place in the Café Gerbois in Paris. Soon, their discussions grew to involve Manet, Pissarro, Degas, and eventually a host of others. Each painter brought a unique perspective to the discussion, and from this network, a movement was born. The discussion had a social component, where ideas were shared and critiqued rather than being imparted from expert to receiver. This movement influenced post-impressionism, most notably through Van Gogh, Cubism through Picasso, and it led to the birth of modern art. Central to this movement was the Café Gerbois because it provided a place for these artists to network. Traditional approaches to professional development provide some opportunity for connection, but due to time and financial constraints, these sessions convene infrequently. Increased access and the ease of use of technology now allows us to connect with each on our own terms. It does not replace face-to-face time. Instead, social networking enhances it. We're very used to knowledge flowing in a straight line, beginning with the expert, then comes the delivery, and at the end of the line is the reception. In his book, Cognitive Surplus, Clay Shirky uses the term collaborative circles to describe the networking that led to a movement like Impressionism. Ideas do not flow in a single direction. Instead, they become part of a cycle. Members of the network enhance the idea, and it develops depth and nuance. The hothousing of ideas creates a positive feedback loop where good ideas become subject to critique and potentially become great ones. It's through the pillars of collaboration, communication, creativity, and most importantly, critique that we're able to develop these new and powerful ideas. While technology may provide access, it is not a panacea for change. It is a tool that accelerates the learning. The tool must be de-emphasized, and the learning must become the central component. As Clay Shirky points out, revolution doesn't happen when society adopts new technologies. It happens when society adopts new behaviors. It's really important that we don't underestimate the power of scale. Imagine if just one teacher from each of our schools shared one idea each day via Twitter or through an online platform for all to see. 200 schools, 365 days, equals 73,000 ideas. Good ideas don't sit. They inspire action and challenge the status quo. But for this to happen, we have to adopt the mentality of sharing. When you aggregate a lot of something, it behaves in new ways. And our new communications tools are aggregating our individual ability to create and share at unprecedented levels of more. It's when we start sharing and opening ourselves up to new learning that we all start pushing in the same direction. Professional learning networks bring direction and purpose to learning. A team of educators use aggregated knowledge to guide and innovate daily practice. Deeper personal learning creates more powerful, productive, and complete professional learning networks. Just like each individual bee, a teacher does their job, adds value to the learning, and brings it back to the collective to create something more. In this case, the honey. Cubist art combines multiple points of view of its subject to create a holistic and powerful image. Like a puzzle, each piece of Cubist art adds to the whole. The personal, professional, and partnered layers of the NEXT PLN work together to create a similarly holistic and powerful learning platform. John Hattie's comprehensive research reveals that the strategy with the highest effect size on effective achievement involves making learning visible. Professional learning must also be open and visible to teachers. Focus on learning rather than pushing programs. Powerful learning comes from questioning, collaborating, and exploring. Through its NYSP, the TCDSB has placed extreme importance on inspiring and motivating employees, with a specific goal to create a learning and work environment that is equitable and diverse, that supports professional learning, innovation, and collaboration. The NEXT PLN brings this aspiration completely to life. With technology comes fear. Some people feel that they are caught in the Stone Ages, but we have to remember that no one is here. We all have some level of comfort or expertise. We also have to remember that the future is a moving target. The goal of the NEXT PLN is to continue pushing our learning and to ask, what's next?